The afternoon sun blazed mercilessly over a bustling urban street where existence rushed onward, and the majority turned their gaze away when confronted with human pain. At that intersection, where the silhouettes of towering buildings cast themselves upon fractured pavement, a child barely 9 years old sat hunched against weathered bricks. His skeletal frame showed through his gaunt flesh, his gaze empty and lost, his fingers shaking as he gripped a hollow paper vessel. Pedestrians streamed past, some carrying leather cases, others laden with market purchases, a few harboring sympathy behind their eyes, yet lacking sufficient resolve to pause. In their perception, he was unseen, merely another youth forsaken by circumstance. However, for a single woman, this encounter would alter not only his future, but her own as well. Friends, before we proceed further, if you hold faith in compassion, in opportunities for redemption, and in narratives that illuminate the virtue dwelling within humanity, please pause to like this video, leave a comment, share it with those dear to you, and subscribe to Untold Stories 0.4. United, we can continue disseminating these chronicles of hope that our world urgently requires. She was called Margaret Hale, a woman approaching her 5th decade who had experienced greater adversity than ease. Her spouse had passed years before, leaving her the sole guardian of 2 children. Existence proved challenging. She maintained dual employment, resided in a cramped dwelling, and occasionally questioned how she would secure monthly housing payments. Still, throughout her personal trials, her compassion had never grown cold. She understood the sensation of isolation, the reality of having no support. Therefore, when she encountered the child at that street corner, his head lowered as if he had surrendered hope in existence itself, she found herself unable to continue walking. Margaret knelt down beside him, observing his parched, split lips and the grime marking his features. His garments were shredded, his footwear practically disintegrating, and his fragile body trembled as if every inhalation required tremendous effort. He uttered his name softly, Elias, and confessed he had consumed no nourishment for multiple days. His mother had vanished several months prior, and his father, consumed by dependency, had never come back. He had been sustaining himself on remnants and abandoned provisions, enduring within the city's narrow passages. For the majority, he represented just another destitute youth destined to disappear into obscurity. Yet Margaret refused to allow such a fate. Without a moment's pause, she clasped his hand and led him from that location. The period that ensued proved demanding. Welcoming Elias into her household meant additional people requiring sustenance, increased anxiety regarding expenses, and even murmurs from those residing nearby who questioned why she would jeopardize her meager means for someone unrelated by blood. Margaret disregarded their judgment. She provided Elias with her son's previous clothing, prepared him heated dishes, and embraced him during evenings when terrors startled him from sleep. Gradually, the child who had previously been wordless and vacant began expressing joy once more. He demonstrated affection for literature, and Margaret would retrieve used volumes from second-hand establishments, motivating him to explore them. She registered him for formal education, where he initially faced difficulties but revealed a keen, persistent inquisitiveness. Time progressed, and although circumstances remained taxing, Elias flourished beneath Margaret's guardianship. He proved industrious, frequently assisting her in transporting provisions or maintaining their modest residence. Educational instructors recognized his exceptional intelligence, and eventually, financial aid opportunities began unlocking pathways that had previously appeared permanently sealed. Margaret's satisfaction deepened when he secured acceptance to a distinguished institution of higher learning. On the morning he departed for university, she held him firmly, moisture flowing down her cheeks, murmuring, "Create meaning in your existence, Elias. Not for public recognition, but for your own sake and for the child you were before." Higher education became an arena of extended evenings, relentless academic preparation, and perpetual uncertainty. Yet Elias bore Margaret's confidence like protective armor. He demonstrated excellence in technological fields and commerce, dedicating countless hours within computational facilities and study halls, pursuing concepts that numerous individuals rejected as unattainable. There were setbacks, financial ventures that crumbled, experimental models that failed, ambitions that appeared to vanish before his vision. However, each instance he recalled the woman who had embraced him when he possessed nothing. He refused to surrender to hopelessness. Upon reaching his late 20s, Elias had established an enterprise that merged advancement with meaningful intent, concentrating on environmentally responsible technology addressing genuine human requirements. Financial backers expressed doubt initially, yet his concept soon began thriving. His identity surfaced in publications, his public addresses attracted masses, and his enterprise ascended into valuations reaching billions. Nevertheless, amid his achievements, a single reflection persisted in his consciousness: the woman who had rescued him when society averted its attention. One afternoon, numerous years afterward, polished dark vehicles moved gradually along a recognizable urban thoroughfare. The atmosphere vibrated as foot traffic halted, observing the procession cease near a deteriorating corner structure. From among the vehicles emerged Elias, presently a man in his early 30s, immaculately attired in custom-fitted professional garments. Photographic equipment captured images, hushed voices circulated. Individuals identified him as the magnate who had seized the commercial sector's focus. However, Elias had not arrived seeking media coverage. He had arrived for her. Margaret had aged considerably, her formerly dark tresses now streaked with silver, her physique more fragile, yet her essence remained resilient. Existence had tested her endurance, though her expression of warmth persisted. When she observed the figures exit the vehicle, she failed to identify him initially. Recognition only arrived when he lowered himself to one knee before her, inclining his head with moisture gathering in his vision. Then she comprehended. This was her Elias, the malnourished child she had once sheltered, now returned as a figure commanding worldwide admiration. The thoroughfare fell into complete silence as protective personnel, spectators, and even casual pedestrians witnessed the moment. Elias grasped her hand, pressing it to his brow. He expressed to her that his entire being, each accomplishment, every triumph existed solely because she had declined to ignore his suffering. He could have vanished into obscurity, yet she had granted him the possibility of survival. And presently he had returned bearing not merely material prosperity, but appreciation more profound than language could express. From that moment forward, Margaret's circumstances underwent complete transformation. Elias relocated her to a magnificent residence, guaranteeing she would never face labor obligations again throughout her remaining days. Beyond that, he created a charitable organization bearing her name, committed to assisting forsaken children, providing them protection, nourishment, and learning opportunities. The identical compassion she had previously extended to him. Media professionals documented the account. Publication headlines praised his modest character. Yet for Elias, the genuine fulfillment emerged from witnessing the woman who preserved his life finally existing without burden. Years subsequently, when individuals inquired what motivated Elias's commercial domain, he never referenced technological innovation or tactical planning first. He spoke of a famished boy positioned on pavement and a woman who selected kindness above personal comfort. He stated, "She preserved my existence when I possessed absolutely nothing. Every action I perform presently serves to honor that gesture." If this narrative resonated within your heart, please pause to like this video, distribute it to others, subscribe to Untold Stories 0.4, and contribute a comment. Your engagement enables us to persist in circulating these testimonials that compassion possesses the capacity to redirect the trajectory of an existence. And before we conclude, share with us in the comments, what actions would you take if you possessed the capability to transform someone's life through a solitary gesture of kindness? Margaret and Elias's chronicle serves as a reminder to us all that one choice, one instant of empathy, can create reverberations across generations and mold the future in manners beyond our imagination. And occasionally the most modest gesture, providing sustenance to a starving child, becomes the origin of something miraculous.